He said they'll sell 1 million Intellivision Amicos in the first year. I'm willing to put money down against anyone willing to take that bet against me right now.
All right, Pat, I bet you $200 that the Amicos will sell 1 million units within the first year.
Game Test Play 游戏音乐
混搭电台 Okay, let's start.
Hey everyone, this is Andrew at GameTestPlay.com. We're back with another episode of the Game Test Play Show, where we shit on other people's channels. This week we're looking at the Amico, which comes out in October. There's a whole bunch of channels talking about this right now. And first up is Pat the NES Punk from the CU podcast. What does he have to say about the Intellivision Amico?
Something that came out, which in this case was a marketing video, I believe, used to pitch to potential new investors and to retailers. But now we're in a different spot than we were even a couple months ago. Because now, Ian, the big difference between now and a couple months ago is now we have people that have put down money for pre-orders.
I tried putting down money for pre-orders. I wanted to get the Founders Edition, but then they sold out. So now I can only get the VIP Edition. And I'm still on the fence of whether I should get it or not, for many reasons. But I want to hear what their take is on this marketing video that Tommy released.
According to the Intellivision president, did 10,000 pre-orders. If you combine that with the 2,600 from the Founders Edition, that's around, to say, 13,000, something like that. If those numbers be believed.
He's questioning the believability of the sales figures, the pre-order figures. I believe them. Why would they lie about something like that? And why would they not give me my Amico that I tried pre-ordering the Founders Edition from if they really didn't sell out?
And you have predictions that there'll be a million Intellivision Amicos sold in the first year, according to Michael Pachter, who is as
what did Michael Pachter?
1 million is a big number, but it's still feasible for them to sell 1 million in the first year as long as they get their manufacturing down.
Sold in the first. Michael Pachter, who is as
what did Michael Pachter say?
The whole point is this: I was wondering what's going on here, and why is there this investment video being put out publicly on YouTube, which was the strangest thing.
I think it's because they want to get more people to sign up and grab an Amico, and they're also looking for investments to move forward after their initial shipment.
You can invest in the Intellivision Amico, or still pre-order on this Fig site.
Yeah, you can still pre-order from their site. You can only get the VIP edition, though. They already sold out of all the Founders editions, which I was a little disappointed about. But if you get the VIP edition, it comes with a $25 card, so you can load some games on there, and then some like buttons or pins or whatnot.
You've taken pre-order money from potentially over 10,000 people. I just don't know. I'm not trying to speculate too much, but to me, that's not entirely positive.
That's not positive? Enabling pre-orders so that people can guarantee themselves an Amico isn't positive?
The timing to me is just weird.
Sure.
That it's happening all now at once, especially when it was always going to be, we are privately funding this with no outside dollars coming in. We're not going to do pre-orders at all. We're not going to crowdfund this at all. That was always said. To me, we're in crowdfunding mode.
This is not crowdfunding mode. They're merely taking pre-orders so they can guarantee the amounts of shipments when it comes to release date. And then they want to get the investors excited so that they can manufacture more and keep the supply of Amicos going and in through the first, second, third, and hopefully fourth, fifth, and sixth, seventh years. I don't know what the life span they're looking at for the Amico, but they're definitely looking long-term right now, and this is not considered crowdfunding.
Yeah, I don't think we can argue that anymore.
This is crowdfunded at this point. At least for the first initial batch that they make. This is crowdfunding.
The thing is, I'm not like anti-crowdfunding.
No.
I'm not anti-crowdfunding at all, but I mean, call a spade a spade. It's crowdfunding.
It's crowdfunded.
Call a spade a spade. Oh, God, there's so many impolite things I can say right now to that, but I'm going to be very measured because I don't want to wind up all irascible and flustered like these gaming journos.
Yeah. Like, what's the difference between taking pre-orders and then now setting up this investment/pre-order site versus just doing you couldn't have done a Kickstarter because there was no finished prototype to it.
I actually appreciate the transparency that Intellivision and Amico have been putting forth. They put the if they weren't going to put the investors thing on their Amico website, they would have just done it somewhere else. And then they would have done it through kind of hiding the fact what they're doing. I think Tommy and them have been very transparent about what they've been doing so far. And I think you guys are a little paranoid. Or maybe you're just trying to, you came out with this idea that Amico sucks really early and now you just got to keep pushing it and pushing it. You can't dial it back and be like, oh, maybe the Amico is a good thing. But I'm looking forward to the console. What else you guys got?
So I don't know if things have changed financially, but I would not be so critical of looking at an economic structure of a company.
Pat, what have you run in your life?
Because then you had people that spent their money, got their hopes up, got a product that's really unfinished.
Ooh, he called your product unfinished. You hear that, Tommy?
Unfinished. And with the game console, getting it to market is the very, very first baby step.
Right.
That's the very start of the launch.
So Pat's saying that the Amico isn't finished yet, and this is all bullshit. It's all conspiracy. It's all an illusion.
I just think it's weird to have a pre-order site also with the investment potential. Now there's a goal for the investment, and there's a thing. This says it's almost 50,000 has been raised, but that's not in pre-orders. Pre-orders would only be $700, and I don't know where that money's coming from. I'm confused by this website. I'm not gonna pretend to know what this is.
Well, can you try harder?
So in terms of the video, we're not gonna sit through the whole thing. I'm just gonna. I have some comments that I put down in terms of what was said here.
All right. So what's your hottest of hot takes there, Cupcake?
So immediately in this video, pretend we're on Shark Tank, Ian. You're Mr. Wonderful. I'm Mark Cuban. We'll just say, or I'm the QVC lady. You're Mark Cuban or Mr. Wonderful.
I think Ian wants to be the QVC lady. Why do you always get to be the QVC lady, Pat?
It's not going to disrupt shit. It's not to sound mean. For something to truly disrupt, it also has to replace what it's disrupting.
Yes.
Uber and Lyft did. True disruption. I hate that fucking term too.
All right. The problem with these guys' hot takes is that they're not that hot. And they're not that funny. They're just mildly scathing, but they also want to tiptoe. They're like, oh, not to make fun, not to hurt this person.
Look, again, trying to be fair. It could find a brand new audience.
Sure.
But it's not going to disrupt anything. Yeah.
Like if this was on Shark Tank, they would laugh at you immediately if you said this is a disruptor. Because there's so few true disruptors that have happened. Smartphone was a disruptor.
Yeah.
To the market. Or even mobile phones were. You have to do something radically different than what has existed before to be a disruptor.
Okay, let's move on and stop saying that word.
Yeah, I really wish you would stop saying disruptor because you don't got that much ammo.
Like I said, if it's going to disrupt in the way that word is used,
just say it's fucking cringy, laugh at it. I'll show you how to do it, guys. Let me put a marker right here.
You are not going to disrupt anything because you are not going to satisfy everyone's needs on the system.
Let's just take a break from these guys real quick and watch some of the video. I'll show you how to do a fucking hot take. Watch this.
And we are going to completely disrupt the video game market with our brand new family video game system.
Okay, I want to put disrupt and family too close together in the same sentence.
And we are going to completely disrupt the family. I actually have the Guinness World Record for the person who's worked on the most video games in their lifetime.
Oh my god, don't start with the Guinness World Record for blah blah blah. That's just real cheesy, dude. Because people have the Guinness World Record for everything, like longest toenails and all this shit. It doesn't mean much. Don't show off your Guinness World Record certificate for your Amico pitch. Come on, Tommy.
Some of the game franchises I've been involved in are things like the original Madden football series, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Guitar Hero. So when I got in the industry...
Wait, what about Earthworm Jim? What about all the music you did, man? Everyone knows you for your music.
Come to find out that Intellivision still existed. And it was with a lot of the people...
That's just hilarious that he didn't even know that Intellivision still existed and he's admitting that in his marketing video.
So I became good friends with the president.
And we can watch more of this video later, but I still want to go back and hear Pat and Ian bitch about this a little bit more.
By the early 80s, we owned, he said we like he was on the television back then, the team. We owned 20% of the video game market. He didn't say that after 83, you owned nothing after that point of the video game market.
Well, he wouldn't do that in a pitch video, dummy. You don't talk about your losses.
Then in the 90s, the internet came along and kids were playing games in dark rooms.
I was in a very bright room.
I hate this. I know It's like I said to you earlier, and I'll be honest, I got to pull my head out of this because this frustrates me too much. I'm just trying to look at this as straight and narrow as I can again and not get overly worked up about it.
He's getting worked up about it. It's really annoying when someone tries to make a console and then release some games, and it just pisses him off as a gaming journalist.
I realize this is part of marketing, but the reliance on these old stereotypes that, like, I feel like Tommy's pulling this shit out of 1995.
Guys, it's not that serious. It's not like Tommy's trying to pull the wool over your eyes. He's just making a pitch video. Whoever did the video kind of got the mark wrong. It's a little bit silly, and you guys want to take yourself so damn seriously about it and try to tank it.
The complexity of the market.
Yeah, I think we're back to a place where I hate this. I know. And it's like I said to you earlier.
None of us are going to be technologically limited.
Learn to speak, dude.
No, especially since he's basically
learn to talk. Learn to speak already. You've been podcasting for how long? You've been doing video game journal shit for how many years, and you still can't talk?
At 240, Tommy says gaming has become solitary, expensive, and complicated.
I think gaming has become everything expensive, sure, in a way.
No, I don't know where you guys have been getting your games from, but gaming is not expensive. When I buy games, I usually get them from the Steam sale site, or I look on the PSN deals. I just don't buy games when they come out usually because I'm not chasing metrics. I'm not like trying to get the reviews out as fast as possible. I tried doing that earlier and it was a total pain in the ass. So now I just look for games that are on sale and I spend like $30 a month, maybe. Usually around 20 or 30. Once in a while I'll buy a new game like Command & Conquer Remastered, which is $20. But gaming is not expensive.
I would argue that video games cost the same as they always did. When you adjust for inflation, they're actually cheaper.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, they are cheaper. You guys don't know whether... It's like they're playing this off each other as they go.
When you over-exaggerate the complexity...
The complexion... What color? That sounds racist.
Of the market versus what your product can offer, I think you're doing a disservice to the average customer.
Well, yes, and that's what I was going to say. You have to be careful there because it does eventually start to sound insulting if...
Yeah, you never sound insulting. You never insult our intelligence, do you guys?
You keep saying this, but you're not... If that's not a...
Come on, learn to speak already. You've been podcasting for how long? How many times have you done this? Do you ever listen to it back and think, maybe I should cut that shit out?
If that's not a well-held theory.
Not a well-held theory.
What are you saying? Are you saying that I don't know what I'm doing?
Yeah, I'm saying you don't know what you're talking about and you don't know what you're doing.
Moving on before I just keep repeating stuff I've said a million times before.
The first console in 30 years to come with 2 controllers.
The Switch has 2 of them attached to it when you buy it.
This was a strange thing to say because I don't see that being a huge competitive advantage unless everything else is equal.
That's really deep. Huge competitive advantage unless everything else is equal. The
Intellivision classics are being remade. Again, they're not banking on the Intellivision brand and name, according to Tommy, but they are because they're showing the Intellivision classics.
I'm excited about these reboots. I don't know about you guys, but that's the big reason I want to grab an Amico. 4
of the packing games are being funded by German taxpayer dollars because they got German funding in order to do these games. So German developers are making, like skiing, for example.
It's being funded by the Germans. It was the Germans all along.
We never really talked about that, but that's something that when you look at the economic structure of this venture, what's going on. When they showed Farkle, Ian, they're not even showing it being played on the Intellivision console or with the controller. It's the screen in the guy's cubicle using an Android phone. So you're not even showing off your product in your pitch video. To me, that's weak. That's what, if I was on Shark Tank, I'd say that. Where's the product?
Where's the product? He's really worried that the Amico's not coming out. It's gonna come out, bro. Don't worry. All right. So in order for my bet to stick, $200 that the Intellivision Amico will sell 1 million units within its first year, I need Pat to retweet this video and send it to Tommy, @Tommy, so that Tommy acknowledges it and makes it official. I will pay you $200, Pat, if the Intellivision Amico does not sell over 1 million copies within its first year. And I've done some research on this, and it's going to be a close call because the biggest issue isn't whether they can sell 1 million Amicos, which I believe they can easily. It's more about getting them manufactured in China. And by the way, if they're being manufactured in China, then why aren't they selling it to the Chinese market? I live in China, and I think a lot of people would like the Amico. One thing that doesn't get talked about too much is the dial. A lot of the remotes in China have these dials that are like circles. They might have them in other countries too. But this is a huge plus when it comes to old people and kids. Because if there's too many buttons, like I hate remotes in the States. Because usually, first of all, you need like 5 or 6 remotes because you have a DVD player and a Blu-ray player. And you have all these remotes lying around. There's like 70, 80 buttons on them. Most of them aren't labeled correctly. And it's just a huge pain in the ass. I think the Amico controller, with its dial and its sleek interface, people aren't going to be afraid of it. And if it interfaces with your TV, that can be a huge selling point too. But I'd like to see the Amico come to China. I don't know if I can get one here. I didn't see... Like, it's funny, they're going to have to ship it across to Europe and America. If I have to buy it, I'm going to have to buy it from America, so it's going to have to make its way across seas twice. It's going to be a pain in the ass. Anyway, I'm not trying to rip on you guys too hard, because... what's it called, Pat? Alright, this is Pat Contry's book, The Nintendo NES Guide, The Ultimate Guide to the Nintendo Library, by Pat Contry, 1985 to 1995. And I can separate the art from the artist. I think Pat's a much better writer than he is a podcaster, but it's very colorful. It looks nice. The commentary is really good. There's stuff in there that Ian writes also. So it's a pretty good book. My only complaint with it really is that after reading it, it seems like Pat doesn't like NES games as much as I thought he did. There's like a lot of negative reviews in here and shit. I'm like, oh wow, I think I like NES games more than he does. But to each their own. I had fun reading it, and I can definitely recommend it. But he is wrong about Crystal Mines.
So strap yourself in. It'll be one hell of a ride. And that's like the end of most Shark Tank.
All right, enough with the
pitches.
Shark Tank. We're going to take a break right now, but on the other end, we'll be back with more channels talking about the Intellivision Amico.
Hey everybody, welcome to the countdown to the Intellivision Amico. And this is a bonus-ode.
Is that what the kids are calling it nowadays?
This episode, we're talking about Night Stalker.
Night Stalker. I clicked on this guy's video because I saw Night Stalker, and he really fits the description. But his name is actually Pete from Open Every Box. He's doing a whole series about Intellivision Amico games in lead to the Intellivision Amico coming out. So he's reminiscing about games, looking at our limited amount of footage, because we only have like a little bit amount of game footage out there. But he really shows a lot of enthusiasm talking about it.
Basically what I wanted to do was think about, where does Night Stalker, the game, the reimagined game, fit in on the Intellivision Amico during the launch of this amazing console coming up this year?
I think this guy's going to kill someone pretty soon if he doesn't get his Intellivision Amico.
Is it a kids game? Is it a retro reimagined game? Is it a multiplayer dream game? Is it all three? Why do I like Night Stalker, but where did it come from? How is it remembered? Why is it remembered so fondly for Intellivision and retro gamer fans?
I don't remember too much from the Intellivision system, but their games do look good. I think some of them have aged pretty well, and I'm looking forward to the reimagining of these games also. And this guy, he's really reimagining them right now in his mind, and it just comes through his voice like...
Welcome to the countdown to the Night Stalker, and this is a Night Stalker, and basically what I wanted to do was think about Night Stalker. So the more I started thinking about it, the more I started Night Stalker. So the game first came out in 1982. So the game came out for the Intellivision, and it was a barn burner.
I like how he puts his fingers together like he's going to kill somebody.
Everybody really liked it. It had this kind of dark overtone, where you had to clear every level, and there was like bats, and there's spiders, and crazy robots trying to kill you.
Yes, the crazy robots, they're trying to kill you, and it's time for a supercut.
So the more I started thinking about it, the more I started digging in. Dark overtone. Basically what I wanted to do was think about robots trying to kill you. And it got me thinking, why do I like trying to kill you? Everybody really liked it. It had this Night Stalker, and Night Stalker brought a little bit of darkness into it and a little bit more stress because you had to find a gun.
Yeah, it's really stressful finding a gun. I know what you mean.
So, it had a lot of things, and it had a maze, and basically the maze was like anybody who grew up playing Pac-Man and those games. But then I realized that there was a game on the Atari 2600, and it was ported there as Dark Caverns. So when I played that game,
I was locked in a basement for over 25 years, and I just got out and decided, I need to take out my Intellivision and play the original version of Night Stalker, yes.
Okay, first of all, it is a really bad port in a lot of ways. Graphically, obviously, the 2600 just could not compete with the Intellivision. In no way could it.
You hear that, Atari 2600? You suck. You suck compared to Intellivision.
But they're kind of blocky and stuff, whereas in the Intellivision version, it's much easier to see that. And again, most ports to the 2600 from the Intellivision.
Look at this little enemy right here. I guess this is supposed to be one of the robots. It just looks like a walking wrench. And then this blue thing, I have no idea what the hell that is. It's just like glitchy porn or something.
One thing I do like about the Atari port, and you might argue with this, let me know in the comments. I like how shooting is. It's simple, it's one button, it's directional. I am a huge fan of shooting. It just feels better. Even though the shooting takes me a little while to get used to at start, the shooting was much easier in that. I like how shooting is.
I think this guy likes shooting.
And that's the only thing. It's really fast. I feel it's faster. Also, you're moving faster as a character in the 2600 version, whereas in the Intellivision you've got good speed, but you're not quite as fast. But that maybe it's just my interpretation of speed in the game. So the Dark Caverns game for the Atari 2600 opened up the game to a whole new audience, obviously, right?
Well, you just got done talking about how shit it is, so I don't know how many people actually like the Atari 2600 version.
I don't know why they didn't keep the Night Stalker actual name, but back then it was so nebulous. People were stealing ideas left and right. There was no laws around copyright.
Yeah, I don't think these copyright laws would have affected anything anyway, because making a good clone is a solid investment. Like, it's not ripping off Pac-Man or Ladybug or any games like this. It's a maze game. It's a new genre. That's like saying that every platformer ever made ripped off Mario. Mario ripped off itself with Donkey Kong.
Coleco put an ad on to play all Atari games on their system and got away with it for a while. So people were just changing the names and building their version of the game and just ripping off everybody. That was the Wild West of game design and game building. So then I looked into my PS2 collection. Guess what I found? My Intellivision Lives disc.
Intellivision Lives? I believe it's Intellivision Lives, but I'll forgive you for that.
And so I started playing Night Stalker on that. And I must say, the controls on that are pretty good. It's a little loose, though, I find, controlling your avatar around the screen. But each of the face buttons on the PlayStation 2 represents left, right, up, down. So, square, circle, triangle, cross. And so I actually got used to that fairly quickly. Not because the Intellivision controller was bad at it. It's because I had spent more time on the PS2 controller, growing up as a young man. And
growing up as a young man? I think you're still growing up, bro. I think it's going to be a while before you finally fully mature.
And so then I started thinking, okay, let's talk about the 3 questions. Like, how is it going to do on launch? So for me, is it a kid's game? That was the first thing I wanted to do.
Hey, boys and girls, you want to come over and play Night Stalker?
Well, first of all, it's E for everyone, so I don't have to worry about violence.
You don't have to worry about violence because you display violence in your eyes and your voice the whole time. God damn, I really thought he was going to kill somebody at the end of this video.
So I think, is it good for kids under 4 or 5? Probably not. I don't know.
I don't think I would ever worry about violence in any of these Intellivision Amico games. Be serious, dude. Are you really worried about violence when it comes to these silly little games? Can't you vet them yourself?
And I started looking at it, and I showed it to my son, and he was like, oh, I love this. It's like Pac-Man.
Let's just all agree to stop referring to Pac-Man when talking about the maze game genre. We know what a maze game is. We know Pac-Man's the biggest maze game. This is not our first rodeo.
And then he started freaking out when the spiders come out, and he said, how do I shoot? How do I shoot? So I had to teach him the controls. And that was the big stumbling block, is trying to teach my son how to use the controller on the Intellivision.
Yeah, the Intellivision controls are a stumbling block. Those things are nasty as hell. I'm really looking forward to the Amico controls, though. I think they got it right with that.
So I am glad that's being taken care of in a big way in the Amico. Everything's about ease of use.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to have a real sleek interface, and hopefully it can interact with your television kind of like the Switch Wiimote did, with like moving it around and pointing it with a cursor. I think that would be clutch, but I haven't seen anything like that yet, except on that one dice game I saw them throw something.
From what I've seen, though, my son will like it. So for kids, so probably 50-50 on that. I don't know.
In fact, it'll probably be really good for kids, because then they can develop their minds faster. Have they proven that yet, that playing video games as a kid helps develop your brain faster?
I don't know. I need to play it more, and then I can update this video or do another video on it.
Yeah, we want to hear your hot take on it.
Is it for general gamers or casual gamers? And the big thing I thought about there was casuals like games that are fun, exciting, and action-oriented in a lot of ways. Or do you like puzzle games?
Yeah, and hardcore players like the opposite. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Everyone likes games like that. What casual gamers want is a way to jump in. Like, I actually consider myself a casual gamer because I don't have time to sit there and go through menus and dink around with interface and installs and updates and fix this. That's kind of why I'm adverse to PC gaming sometimes, even though I have moved there since we're at the end of the console generation. But what casual gamers want is to be able to turn the damn thing on and start playing a game. They don't want to have to deal with like system updates, a wonky interface, or having something just completely broken and not working. So casual gamers, and they don't want storyline either. Do not start putting cutscenes in your Amico game. Tommy, I'm talking to you.
They're shooting. Everybody likes shooting games.
And shooting, there's so many subgenres of shooting. Like, what do you mean shooting? Like first-person shooter, twin-stick shooter, a platformer where you shoot something. Shooting isn't really a good name for a genre because there's just so many subcategories.
It's a maze game. There's like, you gotta figure out move sets, and it's tactical.
No, you don't have to figure out move sets and it's tactical. That's what makes it casual, and I'm sure that's not going to be that deep and complex. It's going to be more about like reaction, and it's going to be all readily understood. That's the point of casual games. So don't start saying it's going to be like tactical and complex or not. That doesn't make any sense.
And there's multiplayer, so you can play with your friends. So that's the big one I think is going to...
That's the big selling point about Amico for me too. Like every game has to have multiplayer, and I appreciate that so much because when I get games, I want to play them with people, and I want to do couch co-op and play with kids and adults and old people and women, and that's a big selling point of the Amico for me.
I think from what I've seen, and we've seen a bit of it now. We've seen a couple different levels. We've seen some video, but we haven't played it yet, right? I'm not worried about their control scheme. I think they got that covered. I think it'll be awesome. It's like, I don't think you can mess up the control scheme at all.
You definitely can mess up the control scheme, and I hope they don't. I haven't gotten my hands on the Amico controller yet, but I'm working on it, and I'll know right away whether that console is going to hit or miss based on how that control works, because that's the key thing right there. And also, I'm also thinking about latency when it comes to like the wireless controller, like whether it'll have any of that, because that could be a problem too. So there are a lot of ways that it can go wrong, but I'm pretty confident that they're getting all their ducks in order and making sure that the controller and the interface is nice and smooth on launch.
Even if you just went with the original and had virtual buttons, it's still a win.
I'm worried about the virtual buttons too, because a couple of virtual buttons are okay. He's talking about the touch screen like turning into buttons, but I really hope there's like a clickiness to it, like with the triggers or the shoulder buttons and the dial, because virtual buttons don't have that feedback. Maybe they invented some sort of super HD haptic feedback touchscreen thing. That'd be cool, but until now, I'm not a huge fan of virtual buttons, but I can handle a couple.
But for me, I like the look. I like the fact that the level has got this heartbeat to it. It's got this movement and flow, and the walls are moving and all that kind of stuff. That really, that's how I imagine it when I first played the game.
This guy has a huge imagination. Mad respects.
Really, really come home to retro fans. I think we're going to gobble this up. And I predict Night Stalker, since it is a launch title, it's going to get a bump right away. People are going to love it, but I think it's going to sell.
Tommy, you got your new spokesman for Amico right here. I think he should be in the official trailer.
And I think it's going to sell for a long while. And I predict now we will see a Night Stalker 2, 3, 4. We will see them all.
All right, so I'll bet you $200 that we won't see Night Stalker 2, 3, and 4. And the same rules apply. You have to retweet this video and @ Tommy in it, and I'll bet you $200 that we don't see Night Stalker 2, 3, and 4.
I'm going to be talking about as many games as I can in this series, because I believe they all bring different things to the Amico. They'll all bring kind of similar things.
You just said they were all going to be different. Now you're saying they're all similar. All right, dude. Look, I love his channel. It's really funny. I clicked on a few other videos. He has a lot of enthusiasm for Amico and gaming in general, and his energy is good, so I had fun watching his video. But he mixes up his words. He's sort of just blabbling in platitudes like, oh, it's all similar, it's all different, it's this but it's that, and just saying the opposite of what he says and kind of just rambling on. But Night Stalker looks really awesome. I don't think this is a pack-in game. I think you got to buy this one, but I don't know. What do you think this should go for? $5? So I'll definitely be getting Night Stalker if I pick up an Amico.
Please put comments in what you think. Did I miss anything? Because, I'm not perfect. Nobody is. Once again, I am Pete. This has been Open Every Box.
We're going to take a break right now, but on the other end, we'll be back with some more Intellivision entertainment. Stay tuned.
I've been following the Intellivision Amico since the beginning, and I did pre-order the Founders Edition. I let some people know, like, hey, I canceled my pre-order. I'm not going to be getting one.
Oh, mic drop. He canceled his pre-order. Well, I wish he fucking sent it to me, man, because I originally signed up to get the Founders Edition, but I didn't get an email. They sold out pretty much immediately, and then I got relegated to the VIP Edition, and I didn't want the VIP Edition, so I'm just going to wait until it comes out and then pick one up if I can.
I contacted these guys over the weekend, non-business day, kind of crazy. Their customer service is top-notch, not going to lie. Had an issue before when I first pre-ordered with my email address. They were quick to fix it.
Yeah, I had an issue too, and their customer service basically told me, fuck you. Sorry, they didn't say fuck you. I'm not going to go on record saying that, but I didn't get my damn Founders Edition, so I'm salty.
The reasons I canceled this, and there's a few. One might be a little petty, and I really don't even consider it a reason. It can be, I guess, but one of them is I just don't like the color of the Founders Edition.
All right, so don't start with your petty argument first. It's just that simple. Like, if there's something petty about it that you don't like, don't come out with that being your first reason, because then you just sound like a jackass. And if this is the first video I'm watching of you, which it is, I don't watch these channels, guys. I know you might think I sit there and I dig through it. I don't. I just go through them really quick, and if there's somebody interesting that I can talk about, then I put them up there. But I'm not really into the whole, like, I'm a gaming journalist thing, because I don't have time for this. I got real work to do, and I just want to get the information I need about the game and get it out there in an entertaining format. I don't have time to listen to your whole, like, spiel about how you're a YouTube content creator and blah, 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 blah. It's just not for me. But if you're going to make an argument about something, get it out right away. You know, like this video. The first second of the video is me betting Pat $200 because he said, oh, it's not going to sell 1 million copies. I think the Amico is going to sell 1 million copies, and that's the main point, and it goes right in the front. Cut out the fluff, get right to the point, drop the bullshit.
Like the color of the Founders Edition, that's the petty, like, reason. I think the wood grain and the gold is garish.
All right, you think it sucks. I want the gold one. That's the one I wanted. I want the garish one. But I'm not a founder and it's sold out, so we'll see. Maybe I can find one. Someone can donate one to me. That'll be really nice. But again, don't come out with your fucking bullshit arguments.
Tommy Tallarico's been doing a great job going out there, talking to people, showcasing the controller, getting the hype up for those people who are really interested in this thing. And more power to him. He's doing a great job, I think, anyway. Love him or hate him, I don't really give a shit. Doesn't matter, right? But
what's this controversy with Tommy about? Like, he's just this guy who did music, and now he's running the marketing part of the Intellivision Amico. What's so controversial about these people? Like, the smallest thing to these gaming journos is controversial. Everything has to be controversial. I think everyone's life is just so fucking boring that they have to take a molehill and turn it into a mountain. It's just really ridiculous, man.
You know, he's done some interviews with Twitch streamers, YouTubers, and whatnot. There's a lot of people out there who are very vocal. Either they're suckasses or they're just straight up haters. And you kind of got to look at both sides. Some of them on both sides have valid points to what they're trying to talk about. Some of their points are just like, come on, man. Like, relax.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Some of their points are just like, come on, man.
I don't utilize any of that in my decision making whatsoever.
All right, stop qualifying everything you're saying. We get how unbiased and how fair you are. That doesn't have to be the first 5 minutes of every video. And I haven't seen his other videos. This is the first one I clicked on, but I'm sure him, like a lot of these gaming journos out there, that's all they do is talk about themselves for the entire video.
But looking at the gameplay stuff with pack-in games, the things that are going on with that, I lost interest, to be honest with you. Reason I lost interest is I didn't grow up with the Intellivision.
That's not the reason you lost interest. All right? The reason you lost interest is, like you said in the middle right there, is you weren't interested in the pack-in games. So that should be the start of your video. Hey, I lost interest and I canceled my pre-order because I saw the pack-in games and they suck. So that's your opinion. That's what you need to get out. And you don't need to qualify it and lie about it in between, because Listening to people just pisses me off. This is why I don't listen to any of these gaming podcasts or shows, and I rarely take interest in people's channel, because they're not concise, they're not honest with themselves. How can they be honest with you? So, he's not interested in the packing games. I agree a bit, they're not the most exciting. Like, it'd be cool to get like an Asteroids or a Missile Command or something, but those are probably ones you're going to have to pay for. And, you know, just say that. Just come out and say that. The packing games aren't a huge deal breaker for me, though, because I want to get a whole bunch of games. Like, I want to get the gift card and just get like all the retro remakes of them. And I have to see the prices of those. If they're like $3 or $5 a pop, give me Asteroids. Tell me how much like the new Asteroids or the new Missile Command is going to be. If that's going to be $10 each, I'm going to be a little shaky on buying it.
So I'm not a big fan to begin with. I was intrigued, and I still am intrigued with this device. But seeing what has been presented so far, like I said, it's some early stuff. I'm not seeing anything that will make me want to play this, like, for more than a few minutes. And that's the problem.
The problem is you're talking about the packing games, and the ones you're showing on the back aren't the packing games. And that actually looks pretty exciting right there, this Missile Command game. So I know he's just throwing it up. He's not synchronizing it. He's not editing his videos. But it is what it is. I'm just pointing that out, that I don't think that this is one of the packing games.
The packing games, the stuff that has been showcased, are not system sellers for me, for a guy who didn't grow up with this. Some people may be the other way, and that's fine, because a lot of people who watch my channel...
I'm a content creator, guys. This is my YouTube channel. Me. Everyone knows about me. I don't even know what this guy's name is. Like, I canceled my I'll have to look it up. I'm going to have to do some magic editing and find out what his name is and put it in the video. Does he have an intro? No, he doesn't.
I've seen the comments. You know, they grew up with Intellivision. They're really excited for this device. They're really excited for some of the stuff that's getting HDMI'd, like, you know, not, you know, an HD version, but like a new version that's like...
I hope it comes with an HDMI cable. Don't you hate when they do that? They don't fucking put in the cable.
You know, current generation type stuff. You know what I mean? Little spruced up new versions of some old school games.
Yeah. Retro reboots. Remakes of the old games with the original IP, because that's an important feature that a lot of people missed, is that they're taking the official Missile Command. They're not doing like clones and stuff for that. They're reimagining it for a contemporary system. So I think it's going to be pretty cool, especially with all these names they got.
Some of the stuff in those trailers, like the Evel Knievel and that stupid emoji game, both being trailers from mobile releases. And that's the one thing I fear too. I saw that and I'm like, yeah, these are mobile games being ported over to the Amico.
Yeah, I worry about that too. I hope they don't get a lot of shovelware in the Amico, because that's going to be one system killer right there. If they just get like a bunch of garbage games, because they were really focused on like keeping high standards and quality assurance and making sure not too much stuff gets released, like only good games get released. So if they start doing mobile ports with some adjustments to make it like Amico exclusive, then that's going to be a hard sell.
Where I don't want to see this device being a dumping ground for mobile games. I want to see some new stuff, and there's a lot of new stuff here, but I don't want to see it in between like Intellivision, like first party releases. I don't just want to see a bunch of junk getting thrown on here. And I know they're trying to combat that in a certain way, like, hey, there's only so many releases at a time. It's not going to get inundated and flooded like the Nintendo Switch does.
Yeah, the Nintendo Switch has a lot of shovelware on there, man. It takes a long time to scroll through all that crap.
Holy crap. The Switch, by far, I know this is like going off topic, has the worst user interface as far as like your games and whatnot. They should have just stuck to the way the 3DS done it.
I think the interface is fine. I think what he's trying to say is that there's too much crap on there and it's hard to scroll through. But in terms of like the interface and getting to where you need to be and it being readily understood, I think the Switch, kind of like most of the consoles, it's pretty much streamlined.
The thing that I've been hearing is that Earthworm Jim's going to be a collection of mini games, and I hope that's not the case.
I hope it's not the case too, and I don't think that's what it is. I think it's going to be more like, you know how Earthworm Jim had levels that weren't really platforming, they were more like shooters. So I hope that's what he means by that. I hope it's not a mini game collection either. I don't think it will be, but we'll see. And I hope the music's good too, because, you know, it's Earthworm Jim. That soundtrack was amazing, so they have a lot to live up to.
But with that said, they could also do something great with that as well, but it's not always what I want. It's not about what you want. It's about what the developer envisions, right? But if people don't want it, then they're not going to buy it, right? But we'll have to wait and see on that. I recognize that could change, and it may as well. But I had to take a step back as a YouTube content creator.
As a YouTube content creator at the cutting edge of video game journalism, it's just so annoying. It's so pretentious. I just want it to stop. That's why I can't bear any of this. I can't actually just like, I rarely watch something because I'm always working on other things, besides game test play. I do have other projects that I do. And the few times I do get to listen or watch something is when I'm eating. So I have like maybe 10 or 15 minutes here or there. And I put something on like this and it's just like an ear sore when people start talking about, oh, my content. Oh, I'm such a content creator. I'm a YouTuber. You're not a content creator if you're not editing your videos. All right. I mean, and if you're not doing a good job, if you're blathering and stumbling over yourself, you're not a performance artist either. So you're not a smooth talker. And one thing that I wish that these people would do is watch your own stuff back. For real. Like, watch it back and then edit out all the crap. And you might find that in your 20, 30-minute video, you only have like 1 or 2 minutes of good, solid material. And that's where you start. That's how you start making videos, because there's a lot of crap that needs to be filtered out. And that's what I'm doing here on Game Test Play. I'm filtering out all the crap. I'm helping people with their channel. And then some of them just never find their niche because they're always chasing something. They always have this pipe dream going on. When it's like, okay, try doing real work and then have the YouTube channel or something be secondary. Because that's what's really important, guys, is that you're actually doing real work. And from this one video, I haven't seen all this guy's stuff. Like, again, I'm not going to go sitting around and stalk people. I don't have time for that. But this is not content creation, what you're doing right here. It's not. And it's okay because, not everyone sees it like that. Because a lot of people would see my gaming mashups and be like, oh, well, this isn't content either. Because they don't know that a human is doing it. They don't know that I'm mixing the music together and like synchronizing it to the game. They don't understand that. But there's no synchronization occurring here. Like, a few times he's talking and it's not relevant to the gameplay footage in the back. But, he just threw it up there. It's quick and easy. But, he's a YouTube content creator. Ooh.
The world's a crazy place right now. Money is a little tight for me, like a lot of people. I'm not complaining. It just is what it is this time of year anyway, with YouTube ad revenue and this.
Okay, YouTube ad revenue. Here's a pro tip. Don't talk about your YouTube ad revenue to people because they don't fucking care.
Content creator versus being a gamer. I am both.
So not only did he not edit this video, like he didn't make the trailer or this mashup video behind him. So it's kind of like he's taking credit for it. I could see some younger people or some stupid people thinking that he actually edited this video behind him. He didn't. This is like the Intellivision promotion video. And he's sort of taking credit for it by mentioning how many times he's a content creator. Did you develop this game? No. Did you edit this video behind you? No. You sat in front of a green screen and you blathered, just like the rest of them. Just like Pat and his buddy Ian. Just like... Well, at least the other guy had some energy. So he's our winner of the week. Pete from Open Every Box. I still don't know this guy's name.
Very, harsh with my opinions on a lot of things. Some things I've reviewed just garbage. Some things are great. So I try to be honest and just share my honest opinions and views on things.
Why does everyone have to talk about how damn honest they are? If you have to talk about how honest you're being, you're probably not being honest. So just cut all this stuff out. I get it. Maybe you are being honest. You just don't have anything interesting to say, and you need to fill up the space to make your content. Fuck.
This is not necessarily an overly expensive system, depending on...
Yes, it is. Actually, it is an overly expensive system. And I know I have a vested interest in this now because I bet Pat $200 it'll sell 1 million copies. But I do think it's a little bit expensive. It's approaching the Switch price. The biggest thing that I think gaming journalists are pissed about is that the Intellivision Amico was originally supposed to be like a cheaper console, like $150, $200 max. And now we're talking $250, $300 range. And that's okay as long as this is a full-blown console. Not like a mini console, not like a limited play sort of edutainment system like Sega Pico. It has to be a full-on console at this point if we're looking at a price point at $250, $300. And then there's also okay, it could come down after the first year to $200, $150. I hope so, because I was a little disappointed when I found out the price had went up. And maybe I won't get it all launched now. We'll see. Maybe I'll have to wait a little longer.
But I had to look at it on the YouTube side of it. am I going to recoup my money on this? It's an unknown as far as ad revenue, stuff like that goes.
Yeah, that's what everyone cares about, is that you're going to recoup your ad revenue through this. It doesn't really help your cause to tell people that you're going to make money off the ad revenue from your Amico videos. It might be true, but just don't divulge that to people.
This video out there, spend $300 on this thing and make $2 back. That's fine in some regards.
All right, the big thing with these videos that pisses me off is that almost none of them have touched the controller. And they're all speculating about what it's going to be like and how fun it's going to be. Yeah, video footage is good. It helps a little bit. But you're not going to know until you have your hands on the controls. And it's almost going to be instant, really. If you're able to play it instantly and not have to fiddle with the controls, you're going to be happy. Plug and play, that's also a big plus. You just plug it in. You don't have to set up a bunch of crap. And it's like, okay, I got my game on very quick. I'm not even thinking about the controllers because they're just so natural. That's going to be the big selling point for the Amico. I have another selling point from my content creator perspective, and that's like, are these games going to have good music? Because what I do with my mashups, most of my games, almost all the games I play have good music because I seek out games based on their soundtrack. If the music is good, I'm definitely going to pick up the Amico. The Brick Breaker game has some good music. I haven't heard the sounds from any of these other games, really. I don't think they have the soundtracks finalized and they don't want to put them out there yet. But when they do, I'm going to be listening for these games. And you should too, because if the games have good, solid music, then that means there's really an investment, a true investment into the love of the Amico. And if they just have some like royalty-free, cheesy Creative Commons, don't get me wrong, some Creative Commons music is good, but if they have all that in there and there's not really like original soundtracks and original music, then it's going to be a little bit of a bummer, especially for me because then I'm not going to be able to do the mega mixes. Oh, by the way, Tommy, could you bring this to China, please? Because I think the Amico would sell really well here in China. There's a lot of one-off consoles. Like if you go to the stores, you see a lot of these arcade emulators, these knockoff mini consoles. There's a lot of one-off consoles in China that people just buy for their kids because they don't want to like get them a PS4 or a gaming PC or all that. So I think the Amico would do really well in China. And since you're manufacturing it here, like why not just sell it in China? I think that would be a huge market. Let's wrap this up. What does he have to say about the Intellivision Amico? I'll give him the last word.
Don't go to the people who are hardcore for, hating on this thing or hardcore sucking ass on this thing.
In other words, go to GameTestPlay.com because that's the most measured view of the Intellivision Amico. Right here, GameTestPlay.com. And when it comes to these mixes, guys, I really hope that they get more attention because I stopped watching reviews because I couldn't stand them anymore. It's always like blah, 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 me, YouTube, content creator. And all I want to do is see some gameplay and have it be cool. So what these mega mixes are, they don't just help the composers and developers, they also work as a way to show off the game really quickly. They're like a glorified trailer. So I do mixes of the songs, and then I also show like the best gameplay. So if you just want to check out some random games that are like, oh, what's this about? I never really got to dive into this too much. You get to see like a quick 6-7 minute video of it, the best gameplay footage, hear the awesome music. People don't use the YouTube playlist, but it's actually really good for this kind of thing. So you can go to the YouTube playlist, check out Gaming Music Mashup, and just watch and listen to games all day because that's a great way to discover new stuff. Anyway, this has been lots of fun. I hope you guys had fun. I've had a lot of different stress going on just trying to get this out there because, I'm not a full-time gaming journal like these cats. So if you like my stuff, please pass it around the internet. I appreciate it. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. You know what to do. And I'll see you next time.